The Board of Education reconvened into open session at 7:02 p.m. Roll call, please.
Samantha Guran, student representative from Vista Del Lago High School.
Evan Morgan is present.
Gary Bob, present.
CJ Johnson, present.
Jesus Holguin, present.
Susan Smith, present.
Martin Rex Kedzie are present.
Robert Verdi, present.
Tina Dagnott, present.
Maribel Maddox, present.
Thank you. We will now have a report out of closed session. We discussed student discipline cases, public employee appointment, public employee discipline, dismissal, conference with labor negotiators, conference with legal counsel, and settlement of claims. Settlement of claims, a motion was made by Evan Morgan and seconded by Gary Baugh to authorize the settlement of claim number 539221 under Government Code as presented. This was approved by the Board of Education with a vote of 5 ayes, 0 nays. Also, a motion was made by Mr. Baugh and seconded by Mr. Johnson to approve the dismissal charges for employee number 198108. This was approved by the Board of Education with a vote of 5 ayes, 0 nays. Should I do this now? I'll wait till later. After the pledge. All right. Yes. All right, we have one more employee appointment that we talked about in closed session. We're going to do that after the pledge. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by our student representative, Samantha Duran. From Vista Del Lago High School.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand as I say my inspirational quote. Perfection is not attainable, but we chase perfection. If we chase perfection, we can catch excellence, from Vince Lombardi.
I love that quote. Thank you very much. And she's formerly of Vista Del Lago High School, recently graduated. Congratulations, Samantha.
And I understand she does have a presentation.
Ah, she has a presentation. Let's go.
May? This is for May?
Do you play the guitar? Do you play the guitar, Dr.
A bass
Kedzior?
guitar?
Christian, you ain't a picture? Well, thank you. I don't know what to
Samantha,
say.
come and stand next to Dr.
I've
Kedzior.
never had one before.
He is coming to take
a picture.
You strum it.
That was really nice. There you are. Is there,
That was for you. It was made in our engineering department by Mr. Sesur's class. Mr. Sesurs was here, but his class actually made that for you.
Wow.
So a class of students made the guitar?
they make guitars at your school?
How did you come to the microphone?
Will you come to the microphone and tell all this, because they want to get it all live and people want to know. And
So they're old guitars that are refurbished, and if you notice on it, it does have Vista Del Lago engraved on the body of it, and then as well as on the top of it, it says Ravens. Though we do have a laser printer at our school within our engineering department, and so for their end of the year project, one of our engineering classes refurbishes old guitars, and we give them as gifts to special individuals, Dr. Kids.
Special. All right.
So thank you.
Thank you.
We can start a band.
I don't feel special now.
We'll get Mr. Solomon or someone to give you lessons, and then next year you can play for us.
Well, I think he is a rock star for sure.
No doubt about that. All right, so also in closed session, we approved Michelle Atkerson as Coordinator of Special Education. Well, we discussed it. We are going to vote right now to approve Michelle Atkerson as Coordinator of Special Education. So can I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Boss, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Is Mrs. Atkerson here? Naturally, we would like you to come up and say a couple of words to us.
You gotta close it. 5 ayes and no nays. Motion carries.
Yes, the motion carried, so.
She's not used to using that. Do you mind? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I would just like to thank the board for approving me for the Coordinator of Special Education Mild to Moderate Disabilities. And I would like to just share how genuinely excited I am to serve in your community and learn about the culture and the students and join with the culture of excellence on purpose. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you, and we are sure our students will benefit from your expertise and knowledge. So thank you very much.
Madam President, can you tell us what item was that on the agenda?
Yes, I can, but not this very second. I have it written down. Yes, go ahead.
That was item G4A1, Mr. Holguin, under Human Resources Consent Managerial Personnel.
So when we get to the consent calendar, we will pull that G4A1 because we've already done it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, dates of future board meetings. We have our very next meeting coming up on June 26th, closed session at 5 o'clock, open session at 7 o'clock. Tonight, we're hearing an LCAP presentation, and at that time, we will approve the LCAP and the budget for the 2018-2019 year.
Oh, we at that meeting.
I am only reading what it says right here. Thank you. So tonight, discussion, next time, approval. July 17th, closed session at 5 o'clock, open session at 7 o'clock. Nothing special on the agenda, but be here anyway. It's always exciting. And August 7th, closed session at 5, open session at 7 o'clock. That's just to let everybody know about the upcoming meetings. We have also, for tonight, we have pulled items F1 and F2 from the agenda. So if you're here specifically for those items, you will have an opportunity to speak tonight in the public comments, or you can come back next time when we are going to be considering F1 and F2. I know there are some people that filled out speaker slips and put F1 and F2 on there. Yes, we saw you, Mr. Bleckert. So you have some other things to discuss anyway. You can always come back for F1, F2. All right, so now we're on to Superintendent's Report, E3.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith, and I want to say to Mr. Swanson and to Vista Del Lago High School, I am very touched by what y'all made for me, and I've never had something like that before, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to try to carry it around and look like I know what I'm doing. I like that, okay. And Tiffany Tran, you thought I was cool. I think you probably has that increased my factor? Okay.
He's going to be practicing tonight when he gets home.
So, welcome everybody, and I'm very excited to share with you some of the things that have happened in our school district since our last board meeting. And one of the things that on our mission statement is that students will graduate from high school and that they'll be prepared for college or career. And tonight, as you hear some of the activities that have happened, they really do reinforce what our mission statement is, and we're very proud of our students and our graduations that have just happened. So you might say, how do you know where students are going when they leave our schools? We do a senior survey every year, and every year it gets better. In 2017, 1,724 students told us where they were going, and in 2018, 2,178 students told us where they were going. That says to us that more students know what they're doing when they leave high school than ever before. That hasn't always been something that's happened here, and in the last 8 years, that's something we've worked on, and you can see private colleges, community colleges, historically black colleges, out of state, CTE trade school, military, the workforce, but they know where they're headed and what's happening. So we're very proud of that. This is another area that we're very proud of, and we want this to be even higher. We're building a culture here. Our students are really shy about telling how much money they received. And when I was at Valley View High School recently at a award ceremony, the student would get up and say, I received $5,422. But they really received $20,000 because it's for 4 years. So teaching children how to report what they received in our district is really important, but it's also valuable to our community because our children are applying for more and more scholarships. I want to thank the high school principals and the counselors and the teachers and the whole community for really getting your children to do this. And so do you see the increase? 2015-16 was one of the first years that we started recording this data. It was 35 million. Then in 2016-17, it grew to 63 million. And in 2017-18, this year, it grew to 72 million. And that's it. Yeah, you should clap. Yeah. It's a huge increase. And at first, I thought it was higher. There was some, I like to tell things, and as soon as I find out. And what we found out was that some students had double reported. We went back and looked at some of the data instead of reporting data that's inaccurate. This is accurate. So we're very proud of them. And congratulations to the class of 2018. That's quite something. So there were 2,408 graduates. And I don't know if you noticed on there, but on that survey, 2,178 told us where they were going after high school. Now, that's a huge increase from what's happened in the past, that students have a direction, a compass, and know what they're doing. Very proud of our graduates in this district. So I have a video that I'd like to have played now of the graduations. And you couldn't be at all of them, but now you get to see some of all of them.
Class of 2018. Make some noise.
Moreno Valley Unified School District is graduating over 2,500 students this year, and we are extremely proud of each and every one of you.
thing that the board asked to have happen was that graduating seniors visit feeder schools. And I can tell you from being at those schools when those graduates arrived and the students got to meet them, it was exciting for the graduates and it was exciting for the students also. The students got their autographs, asked them questions. They were really excited to meet them and to see that, but it created a real connection in our school district. And so we're very proud that that happened, and Esperanza RC again organized that event, and thank you high school principals and elementary principals for allowing this to happen in the schools, and thank you board for making that recommendation. This past week, we were very proud to be recognized by the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. They gave us a proclamation to highlight the 20-year achievement and investments of the Moreno Valley Unified School District Health Academies. Those academies are at Canyon Springs High School, Valley View High School, and Vista del Lago High School. And this is a really exciting partnership that's only going to continue to grow and develop. And Tina Dagnott is working on a grant right now for a medical academy at Vista del Lago High School, and this is part of what they will be doing, is supporting us in that effort. So we're very proud of working together with all the different community members. Recently, we applied for 3 models of excellence. A school district can only apply for 3. You're only allowed to submit 3 applications. We submitted 3, and many times you're not chosen. All 3 are not chosen. This year, I want to thank Vista del Lago High School, Canyon Springs High School, Valley View High School, and Moreno Valley High School, because they visited those schools where these programs are. PBIS is district-wide, but all 3 programs were chosen for models of excellence. So, yeah. And those programs will be recognized at a summit by Riverside County Office of Education in October of 2018. And these applications have been strengthened, and now we're going to submit them for 3 Golden Bell applications for the California School Boards Association. So we're very proud of PBIS, BAR, and Cyber Elite program at Canyon Springs and Valley View. This was something that, you probably saw it on TV. I don't know if you saw it, but we have a community partner, Horace Mann, that they give a bicycle to every student that has perfect attendance. Well, the bicycles were stolen at their home in Yucaipa. They put it on the news, and a man from Los Angeles came to our district, and he brought all the bicycles back for all the kids in our district. He bought them for them. He also wants to be a district partner now, because when he came with his wife out here on this Saturday, he wants to continue to support and provide for the district, because he says what he saw here happening, and I want to thank Eric Swanson for opening up his school that Saturday morning at 8 o'clock or even earlier, and being there so that all these children could receive these bicycles. But it was really a huge event, and KTLA covered it. And so it was very positive for the district, very proud of those children, but very proud that that individual stepped forward, who lives all the way in Los Angeles but came out here and is going to continue to support our district. Y'all could clap for that. That was good. Even though he's not here, he might be watching. This is live stream, so he could be watching. We told him we were going to talk about it tonight. Now, this individual is going to get recognized tonight. He's here, and y'all would all want to meet Brad Alcock. He's the Moreno Valley High School baseball coach ball program in the district, and Mountain View Middle School. Is Mr. Black here this evening? Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's really proud to be the principal of Mountain View Middle. And he was there that day and got in the picture. I wasn't. I couldn't believe that. But Mr. Holguin was there beside him. And both of his teams won. They won the league. Isn't that wonderful? Now, Valley View High School is really trying to keep kids in our district and really trying to make sure that children don't leave our district to go play other places. So one of the things Coach Bartledge is doing, and Mrs. Johnson, the principal, and Jonathan Kenyon, the athletic director, is they're offering a kids football skills camp this summer, June 18th and June 20th. It's free, and it's to help kids be connected to our district, and I hope you all take advantage of that, because we're really excited about offering that within the district, and thank you to them. This year and last year, the Board of Education wanted more done to help students to develop literacy skills and to build literacy into their homes. One of the things we've done is we've given away books every year to children in grades TK through 5, and they are given 6 books to take home and read, and then their libraries work with their families to help them win prizes, be incentivized to do that. The teachers love this program, so do the kids. And on June 1st, we did this at Edgemont. We have a launch every year at a school. Last year it was at Sunnymead Elementary School. And I'd like to show you the video because it's very exciting about the students receiving the books.
We are at a book distribution event held by Moreno Valley Unified where they have generously provided books to every child in pre-K through 5th grade in the district.
I think this is just great, the kickoff for our summer book program. It's so important to keep these kids reading throughout the summer and to give them the opportunity to have books in their home. A lot of kids I know don't have books, especially in this area, don't have very many books in their home, or maybe not even any. So for them to have this opportunity to have some books and to take them home and to read during the summer and read with their families, I think is really important and will help them keep their reading skills up to par during the summer so that they're not behind when they come back to school in the fall.
This is the second year we've done this, and we have such a wonderful relationship with the district and with the superintendent of the district. Dr. Kitziora wanted to make sure that students actually had access to books over the summer, and so he turned to his partners at Scholastic, and knowing that we have such incredible choice and volume of books, that we could provide 6 books for every child, fiction and nonfiction, that come with activities that the students are doing as well to really make reading enjoyable for the students over the summertime.
I think it's fantastic that we can have this partnership with Scholastic and give books to every single child, TK through 5th grade. It's just tremendous. The district has really worked hard, and Scholastic as well, to make this program happen. It shows that the district is really concerned about our students and about students reading and having this opportunity.
Moreno Valley is just such an incredible district. First of all, serving, I think, about 40,000 students across the community is extraordinary. But this is truly a district that has a mission and is mission-driven, as is Scholastic. So it's such a great partnership that we have, and it's so nice to be working with a district partner that truly believes in the power of literacy, and that's what we do at Scholastic.
We're very proud in Moreno Valley Unified School District as the superintendent to offer our second year of summer reading for students, giving every child in transitional kindergarten through 5th grade a book to take, 6 books to take home and read with their families, and they can exchange it with everybody in the community. So we want everyone to get involved. We want to thank the Board of Education for supporting this effort, and we want to thank Scholastic for continuing their support and helping us do this. We're very proud of this literacy initiative in Moreno Valley Unified School District. And I want to thank Moreno Valley High School because you had students there helping, and they were dressed up as Clifford. Yeah, they were in the costume. Thank you. So Mr. Bruff is here tonight, and he's the Director of Student Services, and Rafael Garcia is the CWA Coordinator. He's in the back of the room. Mr. Bruff and Mr. Garcia, do y'all want to wave at everybody and let them know who you are? One of the things they were charged with is reducing expulsions, and they've done, I want to tell you, they've done an outstanding job of working with our schools. And in 2016-17, there were 178 expulsions, and that was a 15.7% reduction. And then in 2017-18, there have been 86 expulsions, and that's a 51.7% reduction. And it doesn't mean that children are not getting in trouble. It doesn't mean that children are behaving. It means that we are using other means of correction and practices within our schools to support our students, and that this is the most exhaustive way when there's no other measure that will work. So I want to thank Mr. Bruff and Mr. Garcia for their work and their team that works with them, because this is truly excellent data. Thank you. We're very proud of our mayor in our city and a joint program that the board adopted as a resolution. It's called MAPPed. It's the Mayor's Apprenticeship Program promoting employment development. This is for mild to moderate disability students in special education. It's a new partnership between the city and the educational partners to help at-risk students successfully enter the workforce. And the mayor is funding this totally. And the district is going to help transport students there. And I want to thank Shelley Crandall, who's the the Assistant Director of Special Education, who helped develop this program and launch it with the mayor and his staff. Thank you, Ms. Crandall. And on July 23rd at 5 o'clock, there's going to be a joint resolution signing with the City Council and the Board of Education. Then on Sunday,
I had a question on that. You said that the mayor was funding it. You really mean the city, right?
well, it's out of the mayor's budget. That's what I know. He has a budget to spend on community efforts, and that's his budget. That it is the city. Yeah, it's like I don't pay for anything here. The school district does. It's his discretionary. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Discretionary, yeah. And he used his discretion to spend it on the district, so we appreciate that. And students. So on this past Sunday, on June 10th, Mr. Johnson and I were invited by Dwight Taylor from Badger Springs School, and we're looking to become more involved on Sundays in churches in our district. So if you'd like for us to come, we'd love to visit. But we went to this is called, what was it called, Mr. Johnson? Breakthrough. Is it on there? Yeah. On the top. Look at me. I forgot where I was. Breakthrough Church, and it was an amazing event to be with these young people and let them hear about the programs in Moreno Valley Unified School District. So we're very proud of that. Having those opportunities to create partnerships with our community and our churches. And if you'd like for us to come, we're more than willing to be there. Another one that I've told you about before, and I hope you'll take advantage of, is our Cyber Patriot program with Donna Woods and Chris Lorenz. They're having a cyber camp and cyber Olympics this summer from June 25th to the 29th. It's from 8:30 to 3:30, and it's 4 days, no cost, and it's for students in grades 6 through 12. So if you're interested and you have children that would like to be in a program this summer that stimulates their mind and helps them maybe choose a profession, this is free at Moreno Valley College, and we'd be glad to help you get information on that. We have also summer school that's at the high school that's happening, and then we have the superintendent's summer learning academies at the elementary and middle schools. And these are in programs to help children develop their interest in STEAM and other activities, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And that runs from June 18th to July 19th. And then we're starting our Asterisk program, which is 10th. And we would like to see more kids registered in kindergarten and transitional kindergarten. Please don't wait till August when the lines are longer. Come out now and make sure your kids get the right placement and the teacher they want. And then we have summer swim lessons for all ages at Canyon Springs and Valley View High School. This is a joint project for the district and the city. It's 4 2-week sessions, and they're listed there, but that's another effort that we appreciate. And then our nutrition services, starting this week, isn't it, tomorrow? They're offering summer lunch in the park, and it's Monday through Friday from 11 to 12:30, and they're offered at these 6 public places, and one of them, Moreno Valley Public Library, it's from 10:30 to 12, but they're for kids and teens 18 and under, and it's, offered and provided, and that's exciting, and we have a huge participation rate in that. And thank you, Tina Dagnall and her team, for doing that. Now, I don't know if you've been out to Canyon Springs High School, but you see Mrs. Kerr here, and she's very excited. She's got a new lease on life now because she's got a new stadium over there. And look at that picture of that. It's one of the most beautiful settings when we were standing out there. I mean, have you ever been to the Hollywood Bowl? Have you ever been there? Well, I mean, it's like that kind of feeling. I didn't want to leave that day. Miss Kerr was having trouble walking off the field that day. She said, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been, I think. But she really, your kids that night, they had their first commencement there. You would have not known it was the first time they had been out there. It looked like, professional, just an exceptional organization. The cadence, the speeches, it was amazing. And aren't you just proud, Mrs. Kerr? Are there students here from Canyon Springs tonight? Aren't y'all proud? Yeah. Well, we're proud as a community because it's really an exciting event. We had a ribbon cutting and a graduation already there. And then Miss Bloom and Mr. Quintero are very excited because they're going to start hosting events at their school more often. Vista del Lago won't have to do so much because they have one of the first high school air-conditioned gyms. I mean, it's air-conditioned. Like real cool air comes down on it. It's beautiful in there too. It's been modernized. It's got new flooring, just all kinds of amenities. But it's Tina Dagnall and your team facilities. Thank you for there's a lobby when you walk in, an entryway, and it's just exceptional, beautiful place. One of the things I want you to know is that we receive letters from parents all the time. And sometimes people aren't happy. But I wanted to tell you about the good things tonight because, we know that there's always going to be people that are unhappy. But sometimes you don't hear from the good people, and they write emails and they let us know things. This is from a parent named Angel from Sugar Hill Elementary. But she said, I want to take the time and tell you my thoughts on my child's 3rd grade experience. I work 12 to 14-hour days, and we've only been in California 15 months. My child was given the best, and that was Miss Abrego. Miss Abrego is a caring, nurturing, devoted, committed, and learns each of her students. They all have the same rules and expectations with following them. Miss Abrego is partnered with them in setting their goals for the year. She even encourages them to challenge themselves. She teaches them to be good stewards and to be respectful of everyone. I just truly wanted to thank you for the most amazing teacher I've ever encountered, and I'm forever grateful my child will have her as a role model. Miss Abrego reminds me of my 2nd grade teacher, who I still remember by name because she had such an impact on me. So I want to thank her for providing that for us, and thank you all for being here tonight and what you contribute to our community, because together we are better. And thank you all for all that you made all these successes happen. Thank you.
Dr. Kedziora, where is this registration center? I think we should give an address out there.
Mr. Bruff, what's the address of you want to come to the microphone and say the address? You know you want to come up here. Don't you have a business card on you that has it on there? It's on Dracia, but I just want.
23301 Dracia.
You're talking to the microphone, Mr. Bruff. Go to the other side and talk into it. Thank you, Mr. Bruff.
23301 Dracia. But it's easier if you think about the community park right there in the corner and the baseball field where Mr. Alcock has that award-winning team. We are right between the park and the baseball field. You can't miss us, but it's 23301 Dracia.
You're never going to forget.
But I grew
that.
up here, and I still tell directions like, by the park,
you're never going to forget
over by
that address.
Alamo Market or things like that. Okay.
Thank you. We now have some recognitions. So we are going to go down, and Ms. Maddox will handle those recognitions and awards. Thank you.
Good evening. One of the things as superintendent that I do is I look for students in our district that are exceptional in many ways, and you know it's hard because there's so many children out there doing great things. Tonight I wanted to recognize from Canyon Springs High School, and Miss Kerr, do you want to come up here with me? Thank you. And is Angel Javier Mead here with his mom Jacqueline Mead? Is she? I see him, but thank you, Patty. Come on up, Angel. Is your mom here? No, my dad is here. Your dad? Oh, your dad's here. Okay. Well, come on up, or you can sit there if you got a baby. I forgot. Okay, but Angel, would you come forward? Angel has gone all 4 years at Canyon Springs High School. He has a GPA of 4.2. He established a faith-based club at Canyon Springs High School on his own. Did that? Is that right? You did that by yourself? Yeah. He was the co-captain and the captain of the water polo team. He led He led the civic engagement in support of student safety. You didn't lead a walkout, did you? With that was civic engagement. Okay. So very involved in making sure that was done peacefully, and one of the best I've seen. How long did that last, Ms. Kerr? 13 minutes or 14? 17 minutes, they were back in class within 20 minutes. It was amazing. Synchronized. I mean, it was just like they were swimming in a pool at a water polo thing. He led the yearbook program for 2 years. He's taken AP classes while doing extracurricular activities. He holds 2 to 3 jobs at a time. Where do you work?
I actually own my own business right now, photography business.
He owns his own photography business.
I'm a private lifeguard.
A private lifeguard.
And an associate at Macy's.
And an associate at Macy's. Now, isn't that something? I'm not done yet either, you know. 2 to 3 jobs at one time. I mean, that's amazing. Completed over 1,000 hours of community service during his senior year alone. 1,000 hours of community service. Now, y'all, you should be clapping. That's big. He supports all the clubs at his school. We honor and recognize Angel Javier Mead for his excellence in leadership at Canyon Springs High School. He leads by example in his dedication to service with enthusiasm and care for his school community. He is truly an example of what great students attend Moreno Valley Unified School District. Thank you, Angel, and your family. Everybody's telling me what to do up here. So, Ms. Carter, we want you to come in and take a picture.
Oh, pardon me.
Oh, and there's this. Thank you, Patty. Ms. Carter, would you hand that to him, please? Thank you. Could you see Mr. Holguin? Thank you. So they want to shake their hand. Thank you. Do you want me to hold that?
Yeah, you want to drop it. Good job, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to continue tonight's recognitions with our next student who's going to be recognized, Malia Hernandez from Vista Heights Middle School. Is Malia here? And if any staff from Vista Heights? Yes, I got it. Malia won the Memorial Day ceremony. She was the student speaker and really was recognized at the city level for her outstanding speech. So really it gives me my pleasure to introduce her, and we're going to hear her speech tonight. Malia.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Malia Hernandez. I would like to start by asking a question. What is Memorial Day? There are 3 days to honor those who have served: Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and Armed Services Day. Memorial Day itself first originated in the aftermath of the Civil War as Decoration Day. On this day, living veterans, families, and citizens would adorn the graves of Union soldiers with flowers and wreaths in order to honor and remember those who gave their lives so that the Union might live. It would not be until 1971 that Memorial Day as we know it would be established. A few weeks ago, I went on a trip through the East Coast. It was amazing to see and feel all of the history coming to life. But also, it showed me how much it means to be free. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of history was our theme. Throughout the trip, we visited several different memorials, including the Pentagon Memorial, the Vietnam Memorial, and the 9/11 Memorial. What I have learned is that freedom comes at a very deep price. The cost of our freedom is paid by the blood and the sacrifice of service members and their families. One of the most memorable memorials was the 9/11 Memorial. The group and I had the pleasure of meeting Al and Maureen Santora, the parents of Christopher Santora, a firefighter who died in 9/11. They took the time to share the story of their son and to show us the memorial itself. We also learned about the positive and the negative coincidences that occurred on 9/11. For example, a man who worked at the World Trade Center got into a very intense argument with his wife and went to work very late. That fight saved his life. Another man decided to go into work early that day and ended up being a victim of the crash. I would also like to take a moment to talk about our tour guide, Steve. Steve is a Vietnam veteran. On one of the days throughout the trip, he told us about the time his life could have ended. He was supposed to board a plane, but happened to be off that day. That plane crashed, and there were no survivors. When we visited Arlington National Cemetery, Steve told us about his friend, First Lieutenant Bromley H. German. He is now honored on panel 33E, line 57 on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. We were able to see his grave and remember him. Today, we remember all those from every generation past and present who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms and independence we enjoy today. From Lexington Green to Little Round Top, from Flanders Fields in Normandy and to the frozen hills of Korea, the steamy jungles of Vietnam and the scorching heat of Iraq and Afghanistan, today we remember those who did not return from those places, where in our name, men and women past gave themselves so that our nation and its ideas might live. For their brothers and sisters, for their families, for all. This Memorial Day, we honor those who have died in the service of our country so that it might live. But more importantly, it is up to us, the living, to rededicate ourselves to the ideals for which so many gave their lives. Those ideals of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
This is, once again, Malia Hernandez. Thank you for sharing your speech with us. Thank you. What a wonderful speech. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Robert Bruff and Mr. Rafael Garcia to help with the attendance, recognitions of improved attendance for this evening. I think we all know how important school attendance is for all of our students. They need to be in school to learn. So CWA works very hard to improve student attendance. So we like to acknowledge the following families for improving attendance. With all the challenges that we have, especially as families, it's important that we support each other and our students' attendance improves. Yeah. So one more time, and this is, if you're an administrator when your school is called, it'd be great if you can come up to acknowledge your families and the students. So from Sunnymead Elementary, we have Malia Preciado, Jorge Preciado, and Marianne Preciado. Sunnymead L. And then we're going to continue with elementary. From Serrano Elementary, we have Matthew Ibarra. Middle school, we have Giovanni Savala from Badger Springs. Any staff member from a school that we call, if you could please come on up. Then from high school, we have Shalani Singh from Bayside. We have Jennifer Contreras Perez from March Valley. And we have Anthony Ibarra from Vista del Lago. Students, congratulations for your attendance improvement, and I know that your grades have improved too. Am I right? Yeah, yeah. Congratulations.
Can I say something? No. There we go. That's much better.
I now would like to go ahead and acknowledge Valley View High School for the 2018 Theater in Our Schools Outstanding Impact Award. So Mrs. Johnson, Valley View. Both Juan Hernandez and Ariana Basil won Outstanding Impact Award for Theater in Our Schools Month for 2018. Theater in Schools Month is a campaign to raise public awareness of the impact of theater education and to draw attention to the need for accessibility of our visual and performing arts. I see Mr. Solomon back there. I'm just going to call you up. And this is under the direction of Janine Lopez, the theater teacher, but they could not be here tonight because they are actually competing at the National History Day competition. So
Greg Solomon is here.
I already called Mr. Greg Solomon, but see now Dr. Gitzscher had to come tell me again after I had called you. You can bring the baby. And I was just told that the team and nationals have advanced to the top 10 in the nation, guys. In the nation. Just advanced.
We can come together, please, so we can take the picture. Everybody come close around together. And smile.
Yes. Didn't I say the nation? I'm going to repeat. This is for National History Day. Valley View High School's team that's competing are now in the top 10 in the nation.
Congratulations. I'm getting to know you because of all the awards. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay, okay.
I now would like to call up the three principals of Canyon Springs High School, Valley View High School, and Vista Del Lago High School. And I know that because I see their pictures and any of their staff that would like to join them. U.S. News and World Report rates all the high schools in the nation, and they get rated on such criteria as student achievement, also how they support their students, also how they reach all of the students, especially the underrepresented groups. So it's a really hard competition, and I'm here to acknowledge these three high schools. They've all have received recognition by U.S. News and World Report, with Vista Del Lago ranking placed them in the top 2,700 of all high schools in America, receiving a silver medal recognition. Vista Del Lago, home of the Ravens. And Canyon Springs and Valley View received the bronze medal of the nation. Did I say that, the nation? Congratulations. Seriously.
Gather around, please.
I like to call up Tiffany Tran up to help me with this recognition. Tiffany is representing Assemblyman member Jose Medina. And Assemblyman Medina picks Teachers of the Year. Being an educator himself, he always acknowledges teachers throughout our region. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Andrea Davidson from Badger Springs Middle School. And Danielle Villanueva from Northridge Elementary School.
Yeah, definitely. If the administrators are here, that'd be great.
Administrators?
Hi, everybody. My name is Tiffany Tran. I'm here on behalf of State Assembly Member Jose Medina. And like she said, every year we do host a luncheon called Day of the Teacher. In May, we try to honor teachers who have just made such an impact on their students and their kids. So we cover the city of Paris, Moreno Valley, and then parts of Riverside. So we choose 2 teachers out of each district, which means these 2 teachers up here, you know, Moreno Valley has the best, but we have to choose the best of the best of the best as well. So these 2 teachers here, they just deserve it so much. And I'd like to just say a few words on behalf of Dr. Ketziora and his office, who actually nominated these 2 teachers as well, helped us pick the best of the best. So here we have is Andrea Davidson, and what Dr. Ketziora and his office said is, Mrs. Davidson works tirelessly for her students. She is constantly striving to implement best practices and will seek out any avenue to find the best methods to reach her students. She gives up her own time to attend trainings and workshops so that she can continuously improve her own knowledge in order to be the best possible educator she can for her students. She has made a point of learning literacy strategies and applying them in the science classroom to strengthen 2 skill sets in her students simultaneously. She seeks out companies to partner with in order to get materials for her students they wouldn't otherwise have access to. And anything she gets for her own students, she graciously shares with other teachers for her site. So please, can we give a round of applause for her first? And then second, we have Danielle Villanueva. What Dr. Ketziora, as well as the board members, have said is Mrs. Villanueva is extremely gifted special education teacher who contributes greatly to the general education at her site. She's an active leader in regards to the school site's core focus STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. She and a partner teacher have spearheaded the design and construction of gardens and a water feature at the school site to promote hand-on science and environmental learning. Recently, the school site won a prestigious award as a result of her work with students in the area of conservation. So I am very proud to be here on behalf of State Assemblyman Medina. I'm just very honored to be a part of this, and everyone just give them a round of applause.
Tiffany, we could send you a picture.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We'll send you the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to block.
No. I'm calling.
Yeah. Okay. Sure, yeah. Gotta get one on the phone.
He's portrait mode.
I'm not upgraded yet. Thanks, Dr. Penny. Shake hands. Yeah.
We always get questions about athletics. We have a great awesome intramural program in middle schools. So we like to acknowledge, I'm going to call Mr. John Black. I'm going to call the Assistant Program Director, LaQuisha Pritchard, her staff, and we're going to acknowledge the Mountain View girls and boys basketball team. They won the championship at the Inland Circle Sports. So every player that's here, please come on up. Come on up.
Hi, I am the proud principal of Mountain View. Obviously, all of the students could not be here. It is summer vacation after all. But I want to acknowledge both our boys and girls basketball teams who took home the championship just a few weeks ago at this point in time. It was really awesome to watch them on the same day both take home the championship. And if you saw the rings that these kids got, you would think it was like the NBA Finals. That's how awesome these rings were. So I would like to thank Mrs. Pritchard and her staff for the awesome opportunity they give all the middle school students in Moreno Valley Unified.
I just want to thank the Moreno Valley Unified School District as well as the principals at every middle school that allows us to facilitate this program. Us as community members, we've been here for many years and we've seen Moreno Valley develop from Sunnymead to Moreno Valley. So it's an honor to continue the work as community members to make sure our students and our actual children and our loved ones in the community to excel, especially in the way of academics, as well as keeping them active and understanding how important it is to be an academic superstar champion sports, at the same time as focus on making sure that they're shining brights for their grades. So it's awesome, and it's awesome work and an opportunity, and we thank the district and the board as well to allow us to serve the community. Thank you.
Make sure the kids in the front. Of course.
Just 1 second before we sit. I have a question for LaQuisha. Those players that Jesus and we saw, they do know they are committed to go to Moreno Valley Unified School District high schools, right?
We are so happy to say that we not only have those students committed, but we also have acting students in every high school on every either freshman or middle school team in some sport. So we're happy.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Hi, nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Thank you for everything. Congratulations. That's excellent. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you for being here, guys. Congratulations. I know it's your summer. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. She seems prompted. You understand, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Look at the boys sneaking off without shaking hands.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Those
Tell them guys to get back over here. Oh.
They shortcut. They went over that way.
Be proud of your accomplishment. Be proud, guys. Thank you. Be proud that you accomplished that. Champions. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Champions. They will.
Thank you, guys. I'd like to invite Dr. McNair and her parent, Nicole Esparza Lopez. So I want to acknowledge Prologis. Prologis is an industrial real estate company, and I understand that Mrs. Esparza Lopez, you work for Prologis, and they have what's called an Impact Day. And what that is they bring volunteers to work at schools, and they call it an Impact Day because they do have such a huge impact. So for Northridge, they brought 15 of their employees. They participated, and they did such projects as, stripping wallpaper and painting the multi-purpose room walls. Yes. That's not enough. They also helped build a new fence for the school's model environmental science area. Wow. And a butterfly garden. What a great model of not only community partnerships, but companies coming to work with schools to, help us with facilities, which leads an impact to student achievement. Prologis, thank you. Mrs. Nicole Esparza, thank you so much.
I grew up in Moreno Valley. I went to Moreno Valley High School, as did my dad and my uncles, aunts. Everybody went there. So I've always wanted to do something like this for our community, and we do this every year. And I'm the only one that has school-age children that are in the Inland Empire. So it's actually really difficult to volunteer sometimes for such large groups because a lot of places only want a few people, or they only want people for a couple of hours, and we're talking 15 to 20 people for all day. And so sometimes it's hard for us to actually get in places, but thank you to Dr. McNair because she actually allowed us to come in and do all the work that we did, and we had so much fun, and all of us were, so grateful and so touched because we had a personal connection. So yeah, we were great, just grateful.
Is it good?
Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you. Thank you.
So I'd like to call Mrs. Johnson back up, please, from Valley View High School principal. We had... I asked Mrs. Johnson to stay here because we would like to acknowledge Valley View High School video students. They took the top regional honors, 4th in the state. They're part of the Eagle Pro production team at Valley View. I know that Mr. Lorenz is out of state, so he could not be here, but this is Chris Lorenz who works with the students. Max Torres, Cameron Gamboa and Alex Duran. They placed first for Best Short Animation in Suicide Prevention, important topic. And they also qualified for the state finals for Directing Change video program, and they took fourth in the state. I better say that again before Dr. Yasura tells me to say it again, so please clap loud. They took fourth in the state. Mr. Eric Swanson, if you could please come up. We'd like to acknowledge Jaden Ellis. He took the gold after winning an individual state championship in the boys 110-meter hurdles during the CIF state, did I say state, championship. He beat out the competition with a time of 13.97 seconds. Congratulations, Jaden. I know you will share that with him.
Jaden couldn't be with us tonight. He's flying out tonight. He runs in nationals this Saturday. His time of 13.97, we compared it with the NCAA Division I tournament that was just held. And with all the Division I placements within the nation, in NCAA Division I, he would have taken 17th place with that time. So hopefully he performs that well at nationals. So good luck to Jaden at nationals.
And I see Jaden's smiling face, so we wish him well. Now I'd like to congratulate Moreno Valley High School, starting with the baseball coach, Mr. Brad Alcock, Mr. Steve Quintero, Ms. Miriam Bloom, So Moreno Valley High School, home of the Vikings, took second. This is the second consecutive CIF championship that they've accomplished, and they played at UC Riverside. The team finished their season with a record of 22-7. Congratulations, Vikings baseball team. Not yet. I am not done with the accolades. And then Mr. Brad Alcock, congratulations. He has been chosen by the Press Enterprise as the 2018 Baseball Coach of the Year. Of the year.
Undefeated.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I said 2 consecutive years. I promise I did. We now would like to acknowledge the teachers that received RAD certification. Before you ask me what RAD stands for, it stands for Reflection, Action, and Decorum, and it's a certification process. It's to upgrade, to have teachers self-reflect, and also to improve their teaching pedagogy. So I see Carissa Marin, our PD professional, so please come on up. And I'm going to call the teachers. We have Manuel Armendariz, Vista Del Lago. We have Craig Carignan, Palm Middle. We have Melissa Cotant, Chaparral Elementary. We have Lisa Miller, Sunnymead Elementary. We have Lindsay Presnell, Moreno Valley High School. And Laurie Russo, Badger Springs Middle School. Congratulations to these teachers for going above and beyond and getting RAD certified. congratulations goes out to the staff and students tonight for being recognized for their achievements. And thank you, all of you, this evening. Thank you.
Where am I sitting? Oh, this is me right here. I forget where I be sitting, and I put the little glass up. It can't be mine. Oh boy. Oh, this is so.
Thank you. It's just great to see all the achievements that the staff and students at Moreno Valley Schools. I really appreciate all of you coming tonight, bringing the kids, coming out, staying late. Thank you. So, staff responses to public comments made at previous meetings.
Mrs. Smith, there are none.
All right, so we have now public comments on agenda items. So, you have a choice if you have asked to speak on an agenda item of speaking either now or when the item comes before the board, so that will be your choice. Any person requesting to speak to any item on the agenda may do so at this time or when the item is addressed. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input to 21 minutes. Per board bylaw 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. So, Mr. Bleckert, you had F1. Do you want to delay that then and speak on your other items now? Or do you want to, you have also have F3 and... Okay, so I'm going to get your non-agenda up here too then. All right.
Non-agenda, just give me 5 minutes and I'll be gone.
All right, 5 minutes for Mr. Bleckert.
You got it.
There they all are.
Okay, so I suppose since the new superintendent, the superintendent's got a new guitar, I'm hoping the next meeting, instead of a choir, we will have a rock and roll band concert going on, since the maybe we can get the high school to make more instruments to do that and kind of jazz this and pick up our image a little bit around here. But one thing, and I like the Vince Lombardi quote that was given at the beginning, because that was one bad dude. He didn't take anything from anybody, and he did not. One thing I really admired about Vince was he didn't sugarcoat anything. If you needed a boot up your butt, he gave it to you. He motivated his players to win. And sometimes you have to do that to be successful. It's not all about making a make-believe world sometimes that we don't have, that doesn't exist. There's a lot of things and a lot of lessons the kids can learn, and they need to learn in order to be successful. And sometimes those lessons are kind of tough, because all of us, once we know we get out in the real world, we know what they are and what you have to deal with. And one thing that I do, and I bring it up a lot, about the cooperation between the city and this school district. And one thing on page 80 that I'd like to bring your attention to on the agenda is the projection of the development in the next 5 years. You're going to see about half and half between multifamily and attached housing and single-family housing. But what you're going to notice in that is a distinct decrease in square footage. And I'd like to bring your attention to a 2015-16 study by the California Legislative Analyst's Office, a nonpartisan, non-biased agency in our state. And in that study, they said when you have high-density housing and high-occupancy housing, you have a lower quality of life and lower test scores in your community. That's why I think it's very important, and I encourage it a lot of the time, because there's all sorts of different developments that come on in this city and how they're doing, and it's going to affect your community. And the decisions that are made a few blocks down the road are going to affect what goes here and vice versa. I know it was mentioned earlier about pro lodges. I know when they first came to city council, there were a lot of residents against that company coming here. There was one person that stood up for them. I wonder who it was. But you see the benefits of standing and telling things like it is, even in the midst of everybody else seems to be against that. Sometimes we don't take that into account. And sometimes you have to be up here and you have to say it the way it is. And if you see things that are not going right, you have to say them. A lot of things on the facilities report and stuff we've talked about many times of what's been going on. But I will say this. I do think the new Edgemont School is cool. I took a tour of it with your operations director, Samar. We had a very interesting discussion about that, of how I see things that should be moved in the future, how we could use our stuff more efficiently. Because I'm going to ask a question about G3J, which is $4 million for relocating classrooms. Is that money eligible, or were those funds eligible for state matching funds up to 1.5 times? If we're not using, and if those were Measure M bond funds or bond funds that were available to that, and we're not taking advantage of it, full advantage, that's where I see we have a problem. Or we could do better, let me put it that way, in what we're doing. Because that money up in Sacramento is not grant money or free money or bond money. It's all of our money. It's the percentage of that. If it's sitting up there, are we going to bring it back to this community for the benefit of our community? Far too many times in this agency, I have seen where we have not done that. The Fifth High School and the money and all that going on for what did or what could have potentially been done of that, is water under the bridge. But I hope we will take some more long-term strategic planning and thought process in putting this together so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past and we can move forward in the future.
Thank you so much for your insightful comments. Next up, Jorge Quintero. And would you like a translator, Mr. Quintero?
Buenas noches, miembros del board,
Good night,
maestros,
board members,
padres y
teachers,
comunidad.
parents, community.
La vez pasada que estuve en la junta,
The previous time that I was here at the meeting,
hablé de los acosadores sexuales,
I talked about regarding sexual harassment
y también de todo lo que está pasando en cuestión de los depredadores sexuales.
and everything regarding sexual predators.
A la semana pasó, o 2 semanas pasó lo de la Halo Elementary School.
It happened that after that happened, the thing at elementary school.
Que nos ofende a la comunidad.
It offends us as a community.
Yo les dije que había que hacer una reestructuración.
I mentioned that a rearrangement had to be done.
Es un cáncer que está en el distrito.
It's a cancer that is in the district.
Y lo tenemos que extirpar.
And we have to remove it.
Hay que tener voluntad para poder hacer eso.
It takes will to do that.
De nada sirve los premios que se dan aquí o que consiguen los alumnos si eso no se soluciona.
It would be useless if all the awards here mentioned if that doesn't get done.
Nos ofende. Ofende a la comunidad.
It offends the community.
Nos duele.
It hurts us.
Parece ser que el patrón de conducta del distrito es tapar y mentir.
It seems that the pattern of the district is to cover and deny.
Yo les pido a los miembros del board
I ask the members of the board
que tienen que cambiar su forma de actuar.
that you have to change your behavior.
La comunidad los está viendo.
The community is watching you,
Y ustedes están ignorando a la comunidad.
and you're ignoring the community.
Es triste decir eso, pero es la realidad.
It is sad to say that, but it's the reality.
yo quisiera callar en cosas, pero no puedo porque callar es peor o igual que delinquir.
I sometimes wish to be silenced, but to not say anything is as bad as a.
Nos avergüenza como comunidad
And this is a shame as a community.
y tenemos que cambiar.
And
Hay
we
que
have-
cambiar las pólizas, hay
Let-
que actuar, no nomás es puro premio.
Let's change the policies. Let's just not focus on the words.
También quisiera felicitar a los que se graduaron de la escuela Moreno Valley High School
I'd like to congratulate the high school graduates
y los speech que dijeron los dos alumnos que tienen las más altas calificaciones,
and the speech given by the two highest grades from the graduates.
donde dijo la señorita Rosa Muñoz,
And as Rosa Munoz said,
uno de los speakers,
one of the speakers,
que ser latino
is to be Latino.
no debe ser una desventaja.
It's not need to be a disadvantage.
Ella es el premio a la excelencia.
She's the prize of excellence,
También el niño Eduardo Martínez,
as well as Eduardo
que
Martinez.
tuvo un 4.8,
Then he had a 4.8.
dijo un speech muy bueno,
He gave a good speech.
que a la comunidad latina nos está representando, porque por primera vez, bueno, muchas veces los latinos han sido número uno en aprovechamiento.
He's a representative of the Latino community. As you know, a lot of Latinos have also been a part of achievements.
Yo sé que hubo controversia en lo último del speech
I
que
know-
dijo él, Eduardo Martínez,
There was a controversy in regards to Martinez's speech
en de la última parte que dijo él,
in the last part that he said,
refiriéndose a los mexicanos.
in reference to the Mexicans.
Pero a mí no me parece mal, pero es una expresión mexicana.
I didn't see it bad, but it's just a Mexican expression.
Y pues sí, hay muchas cosas que tenemos que mejorar, como lo dijo el señor Roy Blecker.
There's a lot of things that need to be improved, like as Roy mentioned,
Pero parece que no tienen voluntad de querer hacerlo.
but there needs to be a will to be done.
Tenemos que hacer una reestructuración del distrito.
We have to rearrange the district.
Hay veces que las high school parecen unas pequeñas, en todas las escuelas, unas pequeñas mafias que existen entre las secretarias o algunos directores. No todos, pero sí muchos.
There seems to be in some high schools a little mafias or cliquish groups among the secretaries or some of the teachers.
Tenemos que hacer los cambios, si no, esto nunca va a progresar.
We need to make the changes, otherwise we will not make progress.
De nada sirve que unos cuantos brillen y los otros no.
It will not matter if some shine and others do not shine.
Tenemos que hacer que los alumnos que están más bajo nivel, cuando menos estén a un nivel mediano.
And we want to bring the lower score students to a medium average.
Porque los que están en lo más alto de calificación
The ones that have high grades
no representan ni siquiera el 0.5%.
are not.
Thank you very much.
are not of the
Your
5%.
time is up. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, Alicia Espinoza. I don't see Ms. Espinoza as present, so we will move on. Thank you for your comments. Wait, we have pulled F1 and 2, yes. So we are now moving to F3, public hearing on the local control accountability plan. Ms. Maddox.
Mrs. Maddox is going to give a presentation this evening, a summary of the Local Control Accountability Plan. Lisa Broomfield is here, and she's the Director of Categorical Programs, and part of what happened when we did the LCAP was we added to Lisa Broomfield's job responsibilities to be responsible for the writing of the LCAP and for helping produce it from our district and to collaborate with other stakeholders, which she has done. In addition, tonight, Business Services is here, Jessica Garcia and Tiffany Miller, and Jennifer Miller. I want to call y'all all sit by each other, and I'm Sandra Ayala, but it's Tanisha Griffin, Grattan. But anyway, Jennifer Miller is here tonight too, and they have helped with the budget with that, along with Tina Dagnall. So I want you to know that to the community, we've held a variety of stakeholder meetings to try to solicit input as well as done surveys within the district. So what you're hearing tonight is a compilation of 4 years of work, and many of the items were not all implemented in the first year, and you'll see the progression as Mrs. Maddox explains this. But I want you to know this is taken from a lot of input from different stakeholders. Thank you, Ms. Maddox.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kitsura. So once again, we're going to start with our mission statement. It's a reminder that our LCAP also is in alignment with our mission statement, which is to ensure all of our students graduate high school prepared to successfully enter higher education or a viable career path. The local accountability plan is a focus on expanded services and support for our low-income, English learners, homeless, foster youth, and our African American students, just as a reminder for the focus. The LCAP is also aligned to our strategic plan. So let's review the LCFF, the rubrics. The middle, the state indicators, is what you've seen on the dashboard. So the academic indicators, the graduation rate, chronic absence, suspension, and the college and career indicators, that's what you have seen on the dashboard at the district and at the school levels. Those are the color-coded. We also have the local indicators. That means that this district must also survey and have data on the local indicators, such as parent engagement and climate survey. A reminder of our 4 goals of this strategic plan. It's good to review those. Our first goal is to have all of our students proficient in literacy, numeracy, thinking skills, and technological skills. Our second goal reflects our mission statement, to have all of our students graduate high school, prepare to successfully enter higher education, pursue a viable career path. Our third goal is our learning environments support all students to thrive academically at the rigor of each grade level. And then our fourth goal is our parent engagement, parent involvement, to have the parents, community members, and labor groups in partnership with staff to support our students' academic goals and career aspirations. So these are, once again, our 4 goals that you're going to see throughout the summary presentation tonight. Dr. Kitsura alluded to all the stakeholder engagement. It's a reminder of the different venues, the different meetings that we've had to get input from our community, from our staff. I'm going to highlight the LCAP's stakeholder meetings. Those have been happening in our district. Those meetings involve students, staff, community members, universities, colleges, our faith-based organizations. It's a wide range of people that come together to give input and get information. And this year we went out in the LCAP community meetings to give information out. So we just didn't wait for people to come here to the board. Dr. Kitsura and the team went out and gave information. And then you see all of the other venues that we have held throughout the year to get more information and also to get input. You're going to hear me say alignment a lot this evening because this is our focus. We are aligned in our district. Our focus, one more time, Dr. Kitsura has the superintendent goals and expectations, not only for the district, but each school has one of these that looks at their data that makes these goals measurable. So each school has targets for the 4 goals that I mentioned previously. They have targets so they know if they're meeting them. For example, our graduation rate, 90% or above for all of our high schools. And so our high schools, 3 of our high schools have already exceeded that goal. Obviously, we want 100%, but all of these goals, and you've seen this before, have measurable targets because you don't know if you achieve your goal unless you measure. So know that we're continuing to look at data, measure progress, and see what we need to do to improve. You actually have a draft of the LCAP in your binder. It's 258 pages. It's a lot of information, but that's a lot of work that this district does. through LCAP funding to provide services and programs for our students. It's important that you have that information. This is the organization, just to give you some, to organize as you go through this. I hope you had a chance to go through the LCAP. The plan summary, it's a really nice overview of the LCAP services. We have to do an annual update. We have to talk about stakeholder engagements, our goals, actions, and services, and we have to say whether we increased or decreased in all these goals, and also talk about services for unduplicated pupils. Let me remind you, there are 3 focus groups. It's because they need assistance. We are going to be working with them. We're our foster youth, our students in special education, and our African American students in different indicators. So just as a reminder. Goal 1, all students are proficient in literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking and technology skills. What have we done about this goal? Here you have the years that we have had LCAP funding and started services for them. As a reminder, started in 2015. These were the services that were funded at the time. And then you see a progression of services in 2016 and 2017 for this goal. For example, we did not have Mandarin in our district before LCAP. Moreno Valley High School is now going to be offering Mandarin 3 next year. So these students next year are going to go into 3 years of Mandarin, all A through G approved. Also, Vista Heights Middle School is now offering Mandarin as a world language. That's just an example of Goal 1, but you can quickly see the services that are under this goal for expanded support and services. I also want to point out there is a dollar figure there. That's the approximate total, about $55 million for this goal to put into place.
Mind if I ask a quick question?
Definitely.
All right, you're offering Mandarin at Vista Heights Middle School.
Correct.
And at Moreno Valley High School.
Correct.
So the kids that take Mandarin in the middle school, will they then go to Moreno Valley High School? It seems like they would go to Canyon Springs High School. Do they offer Mandarin there?
No, but we're actually, because of what you said, and we have the IB program at Canyon, we are now going to be looking at expanding Mandarin at Canyon, because it does make sense what you said.
Yeah.
So you're going to take Mandarin at Vista Heights, you go to Canyon, so we're going to be looking at how to expand Mandarin because of the IB program at Canyon Springs High School. So that's a future plan that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goal 2, all of our students graduate high school prepared to go into higher education or viable career path. One more time, you have the years of and the different services, the different programs. You have the approximate total up there, which is about $10 million. For this one, I'm going to highlight, you have them all, the BAR program. The BAR program, Building Assets, Reducing Risk, is a program that was granted. We had a grant funding for it. LCAP is now going to continue to do the stipends for the teachers. It's a program for 9th graders that provides intermediate intervention for academic and social needs. It's BAR, it's a program to build relationships with teachers, with counselors. It's the concept of a team concept that we do in middle schools at the high school level. So you're going to see BAR for 2015-16 at Vista Del Lago. Then you're going to see BAR in 2016-17, expanded to Valley View. And then you're going to see other elements of what we do to get our kids college and career ready. So let me talk a little bit about 2018-19, because that's what the LCAP you have in front of you. We're going to expand an elementary band teacher. I think you heard the number 800 before. Our elementary band teacher currently is serving 800 students in band at the elementary level. So we talked about expanding that program. Avid Elementary, we need to continue for training at the elementary level for our teachers and principal to receive Avid strategies at the summer academies throughout the year. So it's important that we continue to do that. Here are the bar stipends, which I mentioned, grant funded. LCAP needs to go ahead and support that to make sure that the bar program continues at the 3 high schools. And Mandarin. How about looking at elementary world language and starting our students in Mandarin or in another world language? Here we have elementary world language to start to look at that also, because we want IB at all 3 levels. Goal 3, the learning environment, support all of our students to thrive academically at the rigor of each grade level. Approximately about 10 million, 10 million 5 to do all of the activities here. And one more time, you're going to see a progression of activities, a progression of enhancement of services. I'd like to expand number of assistant principals. That was a goal that we had to make sure that we had enough supervision, not only for safety, but also to assist us in monitoring students for graduation and providing services for them. So you're going to see expand number of assistant principals in 2015-16. In 2016-17, added 4 more at the elementary level. 2017-18, we talked about expanding services for homeless students. And now for 2018-19, we're looking at adding an elementary assistant principal for equity and to provide also support for our elementary principals, adding an elementary counselor to make sure that our students, especially our foster youth, have counseling services, and also the JROTC Marines. Vista Del Lago has started to recruit. They currently have 70 students recruited for the Marines, and we're working on that, making sure that they have also a JROTC unit like we have at the 3 other high schools. So that's in the 2018-19. Goal 4, it's our parents and community members and labor groups. We do work very closely with our labor groups with LCAP, also to bring them in partnership with us to support our students and our families. So for this goal, what I like to highlight is the full day kindergarten. So in 2015-16, we started full day kindergarten at 3 sites. In 2016-17, it went up to 10 sites. In 2017-18, you see all of our full day kindergartens there, with next year having a full day kindergarten at all the high schools. Let me share with you that we had an elementary principal at one of our elementary schools this morning share already that the data is showing that the students that were in full day elementary kindergarten, they're doing better in 1st grade. Data is already showing that. And she was very grateful that at her school, all her teachers were in full day kindergarten last year, so this year they're able to show. So we're already starting to show data that, which is going to help us with our focus. Our focus is K-3 literacy, and in order to do that, we need students in school. So that's just one example of what we have done for this goal to expand support and services. Here's the LCAP annual cycle, just a reminder. So this is the public comment, the public hearing for LCAP in June. And then the next board meeting, we're going to go ahead and adopt the LCAP budget and LCAP plan. Just a reminder of the cycle. It's annual. It's never finished. Improvement. We continuously look at what we're doing to see if it's working and what we need to change. Here's our focus for 2018-19. K-3 literacy in reading and math. I can tell you as a previous elementary principal that students really need to be at grade level by 3rd grade. And we're really going to focus and work on that. Interventions, what type of interventions are we doing? We're going to monitor them. We are monitoring them. We have them before school, after school, on Saturdays, and online, like FEV tutoring in math has been working really well for us in middle school. We have our focus schools that we're going to provide targeted support and work with those schools to make sure that the students in the 4 schools at the elementary level really achieve. So we're going to work with them. School climate is not just about safety. It's about connecting students to school. So you've seen a lot of LCAP funding for extracurricular, for VAPA, for athletics, just examples. And then equity. We are going to continue our work in equity, offering the equity conference that we have here. Also, unconscious bias, working with our associations to continue to work together with our equity work. Here's the budget develop. It's really the LCAP budget development timeline. Just an example, you have the dates, you have the activity and the groups where this whole process of LCAP adoption has happened, and we're now on June 12th, which is the public hearing again. But it's nice to have an overview of the actual process and the steps. One more time, I would like to acknowledge Lisa Broomfield for working on the LCAP, and also to thank the business department for working with us to make sure that we have the resources we need for our programs and services. Thank you.
Thank you for a great presentation. Now we have to have a public hearing on the LCAP, so could I have a motion to open the public hearing? We're going to have the comments after we have a public hearing. Anybody have any more comments about?
I do.
Okay.
Let them comment on her presentation.
Comment on her presentation first, then we'll open the public hearing.
Talked about Mandarin, a student who was at Vista Heights. One of the things that the public needs to know about is if one school has a program that your child is interested in, you can transfer to that place. And if we had orchestra, for example, we probably wouldn't have orchestra at all 4 schools. If you wanted your child to play the cello or the violin and a flute and an orchestra, they would go to that school. And I think so. I don't think it's feasible that necessarily you would have enough students be interested in Mandarin Chinese that you would have it in every school. So if you're really interested in that particular thing, then you would go to Moreno Valley High School, because that's what draws you there.
Correct, Mr. Bob. We have a school of choice in our district. Dr. Kishore works very, very hard to make sure that our parents know that we really have everything their students need to have a very excellent education in our district. So school choice is an option for our parents.
Mr. Ball, I wanted to let the board know that the only reason that Mandarin was offered at Moreno Valley High School was because there was a teacher there that was certified in it, and she wanted to teach it. So it was done to, the school had the person, and it was a person that could teach Mandarin, and it was a great idea. It was never meant that Canyon Springs would not have Mandarin, and that is actually the goal of the International Baccalaureate program, to make sure that the languages that the students take at Vista Heights Middle School are offered at Canyon Springs High School.
Correct. Thank you.
Any more comments from board members? Mr. Johnson?
Mrs. Maddox, on page 8, when you went over this particular graph, this deck, I was thinking about how would I address this. So here's what I'm going to do. When I look at the numbers here, I'm encouraged by them, and I could even say I like it. I'm not there yet, so I'm going to correlate it with football. So you're going to go into the locker room at halftime.
you may be leading by a point, or you may be down by a point. So when you're talking, so I guess what I'm saying to you and everybody else is, I'm encouraged by what I see as far as the African American scores, because they had a pretty far way to go to catch up with the other students, but they're not doing that bad. However, the good news is that the game is not over with yet. So I think that as we take a look at these things, we can rejoice for a few minutes. I think halftime is only about half an hour or 3 months in our case. But when we come back, one other thing that's encouraging too, when you look at the attendance.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the kids are coming to school now. So to me, that's a win. And if they're coming to school, then the next thing is we need to just start applying ourselves more. So I think when the second half starts, or next year starts, I am personally expecting to see these scores even rise a little bit higher. Been working hard. As I said, right now we have a chance to be on in halftime to like football. The coach is talking to all of the players. When we go back out, we know what we've got to do. And we're going to always have the half times. We're going to always have the third quarters. We're not going to ever catch up. But the main thing is, I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to say we're doing okay. We're not there yet.
Correct.
And we still have to work hard to get it where we want to get it. But if we can get the attendance, then we can get the grades as well.
Correct. And like it says, our goal for all of our schools is to have 95% attendance. So when I play football and I throw the ball, I need to know where I need to throw the ball, who's going to catch it, and where they're going to be. This is what we have. This is our plan. We know where we want the ball to be.
Now you're reading me.
Oh,
Yeah, so we're on the same page. Look at that. Well, thank you all for that. Dr. Katsura, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Mr. Hogan.
A comment and a question. First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate the format of this report. This is really good. Being able to see the LCAP aligned with the strategic plan, and then the four main goals of the school district. And I also appreciate the progress in each of the goals year by year, and see where we're going in 2018-19 in goals 2, 3, and 4, but I'm missing goal 1 for 18-19.
Because there's nothing in goal 1 for 18.
Yeah. We have those in place. Yeah, we didn't add anything to goal 1, but we're going to continue what we have.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's
Thank
what I
you,
need to
though.
know. I just wanted that clarification, but other than that, everything, this looks great. I think this is an easy way for the people to be able to see it, to understand it, and be able to interpret.
That format was very intentional. Dr. Katsura wants it very intentional, very clear, and this is what we do.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any more board comments on the LCAP plan or on Mrs. Maddox's presentation?
Very good, Mrs. Maddox.
Thank you.
All right, so we need to still open a public hearing on this LCAP plan.
I move we open the public hearing.
It has been moved and seconded that we open the public hearing, call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. All right, are there any speakers wishing to address this issue? It appears that there are none.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing, call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. All right, there is no vote on the actual plan tonight. That vote will come on June 26th, so we'll look forward to that at our next meeting. And we are moving on to page 374. Public hearing on the budget. Is that where we are?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we'll turn that over to Tina Dagnall for comments.
We are just going to open the public hearing tonight and see if there are any comments. We are still putting the final touches on the budget, as well as waiting to see if there was any input on the LCAP, to see if we need to incorporate any additional changes in the budget. And then next board meeting, we will bring that back for approval, and we will do a presentation for you on the budget at that time.
Any comments on Mrs. Dagnall's comments.
I move we open the hearing for the comments.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we open the public hearing. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. All right, are there any speakers wishing to address this issue? If there are none, then let's have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. All right, we are moving to page 375, item F5, public hearing on the Special Education 2018-2019 Annual Budget Plan and Annual Service Plan. Mrs. Maddox, do you have some comments on this?
This is the request for the approval of the annual budget plan and annual service plan for special education. I have Pam Bender here. Thank you to her and her staff for providing this information. This annual service plan must identify all the services that we provide for students with IEPs at the district level, all the schools, and also if we have services in either private or other schools. It also requires that we have the California State Management Information System number codes. So you're going to see a lot of numbers that those correlate to different services. And also it has the annual budget plan, which requires the identification of revenue and expenditures in specific categories as specified by the Department of Education.
So, is Mrs. Bender making a presentation, or are we just asking her questions?
No, she's not making a presentation.
Okay.
Just gotta open the public.
Yeah.
So, any comments from the board? No.
We
Okay.
move to open the public hearing.
Open the
Second.
public hearing. Moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Do we have any public comments on the Special Education Annual Budget Plan and Service Plan? If there are no public comments, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay. Now, we are going to approve the adoption of Special Education 2018-2019 Annual Budget Plan. So we just heard about it, and this next part will be to adopt it. So, Mrs. Maddox, do you have anything to say on this?
Just like to request the board to adopt this annual budget plan and annual service plan for the 2018-2019 school year.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
I move that we adopt the budget plan.
Moved by Mr. Morgan, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay, we are moving to page 407, the consent agenda, with the absence of,
I move that we adopt the consent agenda as modified by deleting item,
F1 and F2.
yeah,
Wait, what?
GHA1.
okay.
I second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Call
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. All right, moving to page 456, action items, superintendent action items. Resolution H1A, order of election. The County of Riverside Registrar of Voters requires an order of election for board member elections in preparation for the upcoming Board of Education member election to be held November 6, 2018, for 3 seats in trustee areas 1, 3, and 4. An order of election resolution is being presented for approval. Do you have anything to say on this, Dr. Kenzior?
You already said it all.
I said it all. Okay.
I'd be honored to recommend that we approve this motion.
Okay.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2017-1889, order of election. Call for
Mr.
vote.
Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay. Next up, Educational Services Action Item, Student Discipline Cases 525 to 535. This is to approve expulsions and reentries both that we discussed in closed session. Do I have a motion
A motion.
that we approve those cases?
Yes, that we approve.
As recommended.
As you were saying, yes.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Morgan, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay. We have H2B, page 465, California Interscholastic Federation, CIF representatives. I think each high school has a representative. Well, the regular high schools, right, each have a representative. So I need a move and a second to approve the California Interscholastic Federation representatives. That would be the principal. It looks like Principal Tamara Kerr, LaToisha Brown, Karen Johnson, and Eric Swanson will be our representatives.
I move that we approve of those four principals to be our representatives.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Morgan, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay. We're moving now to human resources discussion action items. Dr. Verde, do you have anything to say about these positions?
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. This first position is a negotiated position that's going to be funded out of nutrition services for a production expediter. It's a new job to help with the growing complexity of our food service program and to continue to provide good service to our students and our community. So we're recommending this be approved tonight by the board.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the nutrition services
I have a
production
question. What does the
expediter?
production expediter do?
So the person in this role, Mr. Baugh, is actually going to help just facilitate faster service in the central kitchen and also with just delivery and other special programs. We've tasked Carla Leiter with maybe looking at some ways of working on catering and that sort of thing, and we're hoping that this person can sort of take a lead role in that fashion.
If you look at page 468, it has a total description of the position
No, I read
and the
that.
duties and
Yeah,
responsibilities.
I saw that, but in layman's term, I just don't understand expediting, I suppose. To me, that's the job of the people who work in the nutrition services. Do we need an extra person? That's my question.
So you think
That's-
everyone should be working to make the food expedited as quickly as possible?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's like a person supervising all those people to make sure that they're doing it as quickly as possible.
It's kind of, it's this person, Permis Leiter's kind
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve this position. Do we have a second for that?
A second.
Mr. Holguin has seconded. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Nay.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, again, we're on page 470, I-1B, campus support aide.
This position, Mrs. Smith, is formally known as the noon duty aides. As of January 1, 2018, all of our noon duty aides became classified employees and are now part of our local CSCA chapter. So granted by law all of the rights and benefits of classified service, including the district sitting down and negotiating an updated job description for the noon duties to clarify their role and to try and capture what we'll now call campus support aides, what they perform, the services they perform for our students at the site. So in the position description that we're asking to be approved tonight, some of the items include immediate supervision, supervising of students during breakfast, lunch period, nutrition break, arrival and dismissal times, assisting with traffic control in parking lots, monitoring the restrooms. So really what we captured was, after talking with CSEA and our principals, the best possible across-the-board job description for this classification.
So these noon duty aides have been for some time also doing parking lot duty, before school supervision, recess supervision, but we just kept the title noon duty.
Correct.
So this would change that title to make it more all-encompassing of all of their duties.
Right. The negotiations team felt that campus support aide better captured what their different roles are at the sites.
I move we approve this job description.
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the campus support aide job description. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin. Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Okay. And here we are back with the Marine Corps JROTC instructor job description, page 473. Could you address this for us?
Yes, ma'am. We heard a little earlier about the list of students interested in becoming part of the Marine Corps JROTC. We have worked with MVEA, our Teachers Association, along with the folks from the Marine Corps, to present the board tonight with a job description for this new position. MVUSD currently does have ROTC in 3 of the 4 comprehensive high schools, and one of the goals of our district is to provide students with the opportunity to become involved in school culture and bring programs like this to all of our schools. This is a new program, and it'll be one of a kind in our district, being affiliated with the Marine Corps, and it has been approved as an A through G course. So we're asking the board to approve this new instructor job description this evening.
I just have a quick question. What are the other branches for the other high schools? They're all Air Force, right?
Yes.
So maybe, the next one we
This
can go
is
for
an
Army
Air
or
Force
something.
town.
Just saying. I'm just saying. That's all. I move that we approve the position and the title.
As a retired lieutenant colonel of the United States Air Force, I second that.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the Marine Corps JROTC instructor job description. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Oh.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Mr. Johnson sounded a little doubtful about that. Is that because you think they should have Air Force too?
No.
My
I was
Army,
just-
yes, threw him off.
Yeah, when he did that, that's why I did that. He knew.
Okay. Moving on. So it's not just like one site or,
Not just one school, it's the overall program that they'd be in charge of managing.
okay.
Who does that now?
Right now, we have an interim. Ms. Davis is the interim in that role right now, and it actually has been a problematic position for us to try and recruit for, because we have not been able to get this updated. So we're happy to get it updated so that we're a little bit more competitive now.
Make a motion that we approve it.
Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the principal for early childhood learning. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. We have approving the revised job description for nutrition assistant 2.
I think this is just
This
an
is just an
acknowledgement, Mrs. Smith.
acknowledgement.
Yes. This, just a brief update on this one. We've added a sentence, may travel from school site to school site, allowing this position to have a little bit more flexibility and not just being housed at one particular site or job site. So this just gives us some flexibility, again, to improve service in nutrition services.
Do they travel within one day from site to site, or will they just on different days they might be called to different sites?
It could be either or, depending on what their schedule is going to be
So
set
then
by
we
the
do pay
director.
mileage when they travel within the day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we need a motion to acknowledge the revised job description.
Absolutely. I'll make the motion, please.
Okay, Mr. Johnson has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Point of order. How can we vote on an item that is only for acknowledgement?
You know, I just read it the way it is.
I'm sorry, you're just acknowledging it, there's no vote.
Oh, there's no vote. We're just acknowledging it.
It shouldn't have been printed that way, and we apologize to you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on.
It has been acknowledged.
All right. So comments, we're down to comments from board members and superintendent. So starting with Mr. Morgan.
It was a whirlwind couple weeks for all the graduates and everybody moving into summer vacation. Had the opportunity to go to Canyon's graduation and Valley View's graduation, and those were amazing to see. Canyon Stadium is awesome. The way that it's set up with the back wall there for the hill that goes down into the school, and the bleachers on each side frames beautifully those mountains, those hills that are in the background, and it looks like a scene like you're in like the plains of Utah, overlooking all the hills and the mountains and whatnot. So I think that we need to strategize here for future football games and try to get our home team to always start playing facing the wall so we're not distracted by that beautiful view. And the opposing teams have to go into that view the entire time. Then Valley Views was also equally amazing. The releasing of the doves and just, it was such a nice event. The students gave great speeches. It was just great to see. It was a pleasure to be at both of them. And the last thing I want to talk about is news that happened this past week. I'm sure everybody's heard that Anthony Bourdain had committed suicide. And to me, that really struck me as something powerful because it's, anybody, they say anybody can be a victim of suicide. It's the wealthy, the poor. It's not a matter of social status. It's not a matter of age. There's no, there isn't a class system to suicide. And so if a man who gets to travel the world eating amazing foods, appreciating all these amazing cultures, can take his own life, then it really can't happen to anybody. And so I'd really like to encourage students or faculty or parents out there, anybody, if you're dealing with these demons or having these struggles, reach out to somebody. I'm sure student services will help. I'm sure your counselors will help. Your principals will help. Your teachers will help. There's so many people that in this district especially that would help, whether you're a student, whether you're a faculty member, whether you're even a parent, someone would help. So please don't feel like you have to go through it alone, and there's always someone there that's willing to listen and help you out. And that's all I have to say.
One of the graduation activities that was very touching to me was the adult school graduation. I was surprised at how intense all of those, they're not young people, they're probably up to from 20 to maybe even 50 years old, who decided to go back and get their high school diploma, their GED certification. They had gone through much adversity in their lives and have decided to better themselves. And I think that was their largest graduating class was 28 or 123. And the speeches that were given were very touching, and I was honored to be a school board member to shake their hands. They have overcome a lot of obstacles, and it was a great experience. I wanted to apologize for, I went to lots of graduation activities the week before, but then this last week I went to my own granddaughter's graduation activity in Carmel, Indiana, and it was an amazing experience. It was held in a stadium used at the state fairgrounds for ice hockey. They must have had 10,000 people in attendance at that. Carmel High School is 5,200 students. They had 1,150 graduates. 98% of their class graduated. They had $1.2 million in scholarships. It is a very rich area, but it did not have the diversity that we have here, and I believe that we have done better than that school. And just wanted to compliment our superintendent and his staff and the teachers and classified and certificated people, because I think that we have done a great job in championing equity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Ball.
Thank you. I'm used to that title.
Anyway, I had the opportunity to attend the Canyon Springs graduation as well. I have never, well, I shouldn't say I've never. It's been a long time since I was as proud as I was when I attended that graduation, because all of the hard work that was put in to get that community to agree that they really wanted a football field, and their own football field, by the way, and that they were willing to help us with the bond so we can get that. When I got up to speak, I was wondering why I couldn't get the students, the seniors. I found out later were in the stands. I thought it was just students. I was wondering why I couldn't get them to yell and scream when I said a few things. But then I found out they were told, "Hey, look, you're seniors. You're representing Canyon Springs, so just sit there and just be nice students." But that was pretty cool. But we did get them to cheer a little bit. But I will tell you this: once we left from the podium that we were on, those kids really enjoyed being on that field practicing for their graduation, and the graduation was tremendous. I was very proud that we worked hard to convince or sway the residents in that area to sign saying, yes, we do want that stadium. And so we're grateful that the way it looks. All we need now is a scoreboard, state-of-the-art scoreboard. So if there's someone out there in the audience or who's watching us on TV, if you want to help us with a scoreboard, please contact the district. I'm talking about a state-of-the-art scoreboard, not just a regular one. Please contact the district. We'd be glad to entertain your donation. Okay, I didn't want to say it like that, but yeah, your donation. And then the other one, had a chance to go to Moreno Valley High School graduation. Another historic event there. The #1 student there, I forgot what his GPA was, but he set a record. Moreno Valley High School has been around for a long time. His GPA was the highest ever. And was it 4.8? Yeah, 4.8. It's almost close as the one I had, but okay, that was pretty funny. I'm also proud of the 3 high schools that exceeded our graduation rate. As I like to call it, this is halftime. We're in the locker room and we're talking about what we're going to do when we go back outside. And you know, when you're working with the school district, you're going to probably always be either in halftime or third quarter. I don't think the game will ever be over. But the good news is that we're doing well. And Dr. Katsuri and your staff, thank you guys very much for putting so much emphasis on all of our students, but making sure that those that's in the rear, that they are coming up and they're doing much better. It makes everybody in the entire district proud, because when you look at the attendance rate, again, like I just said earlier, if the kids are coming to school, then they want to learn. And so it's our job to make sure that we do everything we can to support them in that manner. So thank you guys very much for that. So I'm going to close with, I put two of my quotes together. Everything good, everything magical happens between the months of June and August. So I'm appealing to all of our students, and all adults as well, but all of our students, please, please, please enjoy the summer, but please be careful because we want you back at the beginning of the school year. Be safe. Don't take unnecessary risks or chances with your life and your body because they are very important to us. That's all I have.
So I also attended the Canyon Springs High School graduation, and a lot has been said about that graduation stadium, and it's thrilling. It's really amazing, and I don't want to repeat a lot of that. So I'm going to mention some of the things that I'm surprised have not been mentioned this evening because there's a lot of celebration.
I left that for you.
Thank you. A lot of celebrations and some other groups that also celebrated their accomplishments. But before I get into those celebrations, I want to thank the partnership that has been established with Moss Brothers Toyota because we saw some students getting scholarships, and one evening we were invited to observe this. Some got some scholarships, and a student got a car from Moss Brothers. So that says a lot about the commitment from that organization to work with the district. And by the way, that student was the salutatorian at Canyon Springs High School. So very, very excited moment. I want to thank Dr. Getsura and his team for also putting together an orientation for foster youth providers. I think that's a big group of students important group of students that also we need to put attention, and the district is doing a good job with that. So having that orientation was a good thing. And so I want to say thank you. Another group of students that also celebrated their accomplishment was those students that went through the workability program. And they had a banquet here to celebrate that. I was able to attend. I think a couple of you were there too. And, it's great to see the students not only attending their classes, school activities, but also getting connected with organizations and companies that are willing to take them and teach them some skills that are going to benefit the students down the road as they get into their workforce. So again, thank you for putting that program together, and that's a good activity there too. I visited the Equity Institute, and that was a good program that took place here in the district in partnership with AXA and Generation Ready. So that was an Equity Institute for principals and some members of the different schools that participated. And again, Mr. Bob mentioned about Equity Champion, this district being in that Equity Champion mode, and this particular institute I think was very helpful for them. It was a great experience. Just the few minutes that I was able to be there and listen to the presentations, I think it was a great institute, and the comments that I heard from the superintendent and others. So thank you for putting that together and having that opportunity for the administrators. I'm surprised that Dr. Kitsura did not mention this, and Mr. Johnson didn't mention it either, but we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for Edgemont Elementary School. That was a big thing, big deal for our elementary school. Unless I missed it, but I was happy that you didn't, so I could mention it here. So Edgemont Elementary, great ceremony, ribbon cutting. Very proud of that school. Very proud of all the work that has been taking place there, and again, thanks to the entire team that participated in the construction of that site, but also thanks to the community that supported getting the funding for that elementary school. And I think the families and the students there are in a great place now. Because it's state of the art, and it's just an amazing campus. So
beautiful.
I'm glad I was able to mention that. Another event or another activity to thank the teachers that have decided to devote their career into teaching and education, they had an induction colloquium at the Bridges Learning Center, and I don't know how many teachers were there completing their colloquium, and I just want to say thank you to all the teachers that decided to become teachers, and then that decided to work here for our district. So, I wish the best to all those teachers, and we wish success for the teachers, because if they're successful, of course, our students are going to be successful too. Of course, I attended several ceremonies, not only Canyon Springs Valley View High School graduation. I also attended several middle schools promotion ceremonies, and it was great to hear also speeches from middle school students and see them getting their awards and their medals, and their families excited because now the students are moving up to the high school. And I even attended, I think, 1 or 2 elementary schools promotions ceremonies. So that was another exciting moment. In addition to that, the African American Baccalaureate ceremony that Sunday, that was great to see the students there, some of them. I had to leave early before the end of the ceremony, but that was great to see all that success. So overall, a lot of success stories, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of celebration for students and families. And again, thank you to the entire team for putting together all the programs and all the activities and all the celebration. And I forgot to mention one that was really, really good celebration. That was the Strive students graduation. It took place right here, and it was only 5 students that graduated, but these 5 students went a long way to be able to graduate from high school, because they went through a lot of different challenges, and obviously their families supported them tremendously during the process. And thanks to the special education department, because they work really hard to make sure that those students came to that moment. So that was a neat ceremony, and I believe it's the first time that was put together. Yeah. So thank you for doing that. That was absolutely
Dr.
great.
Kesher, that was that young kid we met Sunday, right? He and his the girlfriend or whatever.
Mr. Holguin,
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but on Sunday, Mr. Johnson and I were meeting at that Cupcake and Espresso bar, and we were talking about some things, and we walked outside, and that young man, one of the young men that was at the graduation, he came up to us, and he said he wanted to thank us for what we did for him. And Mr. Johnson hadn't met him yet, but he said, I want you to know how much it meant to me what happened the other day, because I wouldn't be here without the school district. And he was just very enthusiastic. He's going to get his girlfriend involved in the program.
Yeah, remember she said she was going to graduate because some people didn't think that she would. She was determined.
But I appreciate that the ceremony was here with only 5 students. There was a lot of family members here, and the whole ceremony was done exactly as the high schools, as if it was a full ceremony. So it was as important as the others. So thank you so much for doing that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Just every student we have graduate from a school in Moreno Valley is equally important as every other student, and we celebrate every one of those graduations. And when we went to the adult ed graduation, as Mr. Boss said, there were people there that were maybe 20 and had just dropped out when they were 16 and had come back and graduated when they were 20. There were people there in their 50s. There was a man, and I think I mentioned this at the graduation, he said to me, I went to graduations for all 3 of my children. Now they're coming to mine. So, to be there, to have that joy, and they're just so happy that they finally have that high school diploma. So it was great to be there and to celebrate with them. Many of these graduations, we could have used a box of tissues. At March Mountain, did every speaker cry, or just 2 of them? I don't know. But certainly there were a lot of tears shed there by students who had overcome different kinds of obstacles, students who maybe thought they might not graduate from high school, who came in short of credits with 1 year to go and thought, I don't think I have enough time to make it. And then they made it, and they were there celebrating, and their families were celebrating. and just to be there with them, with the online academy, with the students at Moreno Valley High School and Vista del Lago High School. Since none of you mentioned Vista del Lago High School, perhaps I could say something about the great experience that it was and how much you missed by not being there. Since it was on the same night as Canyon Springs, and I said all the men are going to want to go to Canyon Springs. So, but the valedictorian there was giving his speech and also had a teary moment. His mother was diagnosed with cancer when he was a freshman, and she was there in the special seats for parents of the top 10 students to celebrate with her son. Her cancer has come back, but she was able to be there and to celebrate with him as he graduated. Not only graduated, but graduated as a everybody was going to college. But, in our district, we see students with a lot more obstacles to overcome. And I'm Ziora, and he says that this year, all of the teachers at the summer learning academies will be Moreno Valley Unified teachers that will be teaching at those academies. So you can rest assured that your students, if they go to that, are in good hands with our regular teachers. They might not be the teachers they see every day, but they will be regular Moreno Valley Unified teachers. Happy to see we're offering the summer lunch in the park program. I get friends that mention it that don't even live in our district, but they're happy to be out there having lunch for their kids. The summer reading kickoff at Edgemont was so much fun to just see the joy that those kids had to get some books and look forward to reading those during the summer. I hope that if there are any parents or kids out there, that they're encouraging their kids to read, not just to read those books, but to get to the library. There's now not only the public library, there's a library annex in the mall that you can go to. So everyone should, one of my joys growing up was my mother took us to the library every 2 weeks. We lived, when I was younger, we lived in an area that didn't really have a close library, so it was a drive to get down to the library, and we would go every 2 weeks and get some new books, and that was an exciting part of my childhood. So summer swim lessons, mentioned but not with too much emphasis. I wish we could offer these for free because I think it's so important for every child to learn how to swim. We have a lot of people in California that have swimming pools, a lot of places that your children might be invited where there might be a pool in the backyard. Have your child learn to swim now. Let's keep all of these kids safe throughout the summer and really throughout their life. Swimming is a skill that will be with you the rest of your life and that can benefit you permanently. I'd also like to say something just in closing. We talked about high school graduation. I have a little article here I cut out of the LA Times. Hope you don't mind articles from the Times coming your way about a plan in LA Unified this was in the newspaper this morning to encourage, help students to graduate. They want everyone who graduates from high school to fulfill the A through G requirements. I'd like to see us, I know that Dr. Kedziora has a plan to work on that, and I would like to see more of an emphasis now that we have moved up our graduation rate to over 90%. I would like to see those graduates have the A through G requirements. We can work on that starting when they're freshmen and encourage them just like we do with high school at graduation to make sure they're getting those requirements. I already gave you one, right?
You did. Thank you.
Thank you. So a plan to get all students college ready. I think part of our graduating college and career ready is to have those A through G requirements and to have students that could qualify for a four-year college straight out of high school. I know that I shouldn't talk much longer, but I do have a little teaching job at Riverside Community College, and they are decreasing the offerings in the pre-English 1A requirements. They want all students to be able to take English 1A within 1 year of entering RCC because they don't want them to be in community college forever. So one of the things we can do to help this is to make sure our kids have those A through G requirements so that when they go to community college, they don't have to take any of those remedial courses. They're already pre-qualified. So that's my little thing for tonight. So thank you very much. Over to Dr. Kedziora.
Excuse me, Dr. Kessiora, would you please mention about Sunday? You're not on Sunday.
I did.
No. I'm talking
Mention
about.
again?
No, I'm talking about where we went on Sunday. You talked about the.
I talked about the
The church.
Breakthrough Church and my, but I will again. Mr. Johnson, I'll be glad to do that. Ms. Smith, I want you to know that Moreno Valley Unified School District has a plan that we are implementing and have been implementing on A through G requirements. Ms. Maddox is part of a collaborative with Riverside County Office of Education. I will. And what I want you to know is that Moreno Valley Unified School District has had the highest growth of any district in Riverside County in A through G requirements being taken by students. And also, Mrs. Maddox has made sure that courses that students take are A through G eligible. And she's submitted the courses to make sure that they're all A through G, even the CTE courses. So we have a plan underway, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I want you to know, I said it in one of my superintendent's reports, but we had like a 10% increase this year in A through G requirements of students, and that was the highest increase of any district in Riverside County. So we're very proud of that.
Thank you. I look forward to continuing to increase that A through G.
And we do too. That's one of
rate.
it's on the superintendent's, those goals that she went over tonight, the expectations. It has the A through G on there as one of the criteria. So Mr. Johnson asked me to mention about going to Breakthrough Church this past Sunday, and Mr. Johnson joined me there, and it was to meet the young people and to tell them about the programs that we offer in Moreno Valley Unified School District. The church was so excited that we came. We were blessed to be there, but I was really excited to meet those children and just enjoyed meeting their families and the whole community there. So, Mr. Johnson, thank you for going with me there. One of the things that Ms. Smith talked about was the summer reading program, and I get lots of letters from different kids about these books. I mean, it's really the best public relations, but also the literacy that happens, and just the parents' engagement. But the teachers really love it because their kids are taking home books, and they have their own libraries now at home, and they can exchange it in the community. And so at Miss Humphrey's class, who's a first grade teacher at Ridgecrest, every year they write me letters. And I want to thank them for writing those letters to me because they mean a lot to me. And Thomas wrote me this year, "Dear Dr. Kedziora, thank you for the books. When I grow up, I want to be a superintendent. The books will make us smarter. I am so, so, so thankful for the colored pencils, too. I read 257 books this year. I like the books. The books are cool. Love, Thomas." Isn't that sweet? And there's a whole book of them that they sent me, and I just really appreciate that and that's not the only school that did that, but that's really just does touch my heart. I want you to know there was a man here tonight. I was hoping y'all get to meet him. Did y'all see him? He was tall. He was in the back. Dr. Holmes. I don't know if y'all know this, but he's a parent ambassador in our district, and he is also a dean at Mount San Jacinto College, and he's a parent at Moreno Valley High School. And I happen to, and I said this today to the staff in business and to the principals, but we have to put out the good and what happens here. The more good we put out, the more it comes back to us. When I was I was teaching a class for AXA, and Mr. Holmes, Dr. Holmes was in that class, and when I talked about our parent ambassadors and I talked about how they could be part of what we do here, well, he applied for the job, and he's a dean at Mount San Jacinto College, and he was here this evening. But that's what happens when you tell people the wonderful things that happen here. And I really appreciated, Mr. Holguin, that you talked about Moss Brothers, because Tina Dagnall goes to Rotary every Tuesday. We're so lucky that we have her. And the rest of us fill in, whenever we can. But, I go there, and every chance I get, I talk about the great things that happen in our district. And, in spite of what others, may say sometimes, people want to help, and they really are proud of what's happening here. So Jay Moss at Moss Brothers came to us. He came to our district and said, you know, I've heard what you said about the wonderful kids who go to school here, and I want to help your children. And so he came and met with us, and Sandra Ayala was in that meeting because she's the risk manager, and we like to make sure that we're not doing anything that would create any liability. So thank you for being there, Sandra. Look a little more excited. Her son goes to school here in our district, so thank you. But anyway, they donated a car and 4 $1,000 scholarships and 4 $500 scholarships, and I thought it was the valedictorian at Canyon Springs that won it. Was she the salutatorian? I thought she was the valedictorian.
I thought she was a valedictorian.
Yeah. Anyway, she was one of those, and she won this wonderful car. The other thing that happened was Sandra Ayala said in that meeting, you know, the kids may not be able to pay for the taxes on the car because when you win something, you got to pay taxes. And they go, we hadn't thought of that. And they agreed to pay the taxes so that the student, and so thank you, Sandra, for bringing that up. But wonderful partnership. But he went around to each student after they won the award, and he asked them what they were, where they were going to college, and he asked them what they wanted to be. And he said, Dr. Kidzua, you are so right. Your kids know where they're going, and they know what they're going to become. And that's something we've worked on here. That wasn't like that 8 years ago. And that's why the graduation rate at 3 of our high schools is over 90%. But it's also because the expectation for students and staff and every one of us, myself included, is higher. And we hold ourselves accountable, and we support our students. And I just want to say thank you. I also want to say thank you to Vista Del Lago High School for the guitar. You know, I've never had one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I do like what Mr. Boss said. I'm a rock star, and I'm going to go with that. So even if I don't play,
Memphis.
I know Elvis. I'm trying to get there. You know, I'm working on it. But I want to compliment Miss Smith tonight because, you know, she spoke longer than Mr. Johnson did, and so I think she's like Maxine Waters in the Senate. She's reclaiming her time.
I'm sorry.
So I just want to say something happened up here. But anyway, I'm proud of you.
I noticed that too.
So thank you, Miss Smith.
I'm going to take over your title.
It's him. Jesus is the guy, not me.
All right. Thank you. And at 9:56, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying.
Yeah, but I've never been to the entire page.